Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the XFO Intelligence Podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that sounds abstract at first, but actually touches every institution, every community, and eventually every person. The idea that 2027 may be an inflection point for global stability because the pace of advanced technology, especially AI, is accelerating faster than our ability to govern it wisely. This isn't about singling out any one country, any one company, or any one rivalry. It's about a systems-level problem. When technology evolves at one speed and institutions adapt at another speed, the gap between them becomes a risk all by itself. As we stand in January 2026, the next 12 months matter, not because the future is predetermined, but because we still have time to build what Brendan S.C. Wong calls adaptive peace infrastructure. The kind of peace architecture that can handle fast-moving technological change without breaking down under stress. Let's unpack the challenge. The convergence challenge, when institutions fall behind technology. The core issue isn't simply that AI is getting more powerful, it's that autonomous systems and AI capabilities are approaching thresholds that will strain the frameworks we rely on today: diplomacy, crisis management, dispute resolution, and even the public's basic trust in information. The problem is temporal. Technology developers often behave as if it's already 2028, building, deploying, iterating rapidly, but many diplomatic and governance institutions behave as if it's still 2024, moving slowly, relying on legacy assumptions, and struggling to match the speed and complexity of what's emerging. That mismatch creates blind spots, and in systems, blind spots are where cascading failures begin. Hidden system dynamics, the things we don't measure clearly enough. There are three dynamics here that are easy to miss if we only look at headlines. First, temporal displacement. Different actors are living in different time zones of reality. When tech ecosystems move ahead faster than policy and diplomacy, coordination gaps form, not because people are malicious, but because they're operating on incompatible rhythms. Second, trust networks are fragile and they have thresholds. Trust isn't just a feeling, it behaves like a system with density. When trust density falls below a critical point, even good interventions stop working reliably. You can have the right policy, the right proposal, the right intentions, and still fail because the network can't carry the signal. Third, our peace infrastructure lacks redundancy. Resilient systems don't rely on one channel, yet many governance mechanisms and diplomatic pathways are single-threaded: one official track, one negotiation format, one trusted route that, if blocked, leaves us stuck. Ironically, some of the most effective peacebuilding happens outside formal structures, through informal intermediaries, bridge builders, and trusted relationships that can keep communication alive when official channels freeze. Reframing peace. Peace as a dynamic system. Now, here's the hopeful part. The concept of peace we need going forward is not the absence of conflict. Peace is more like a living system, dynamic, multi-layered, and requiring continuous cultivation. This perspective suggests four dimensions of action: individual, community, institutional, and global. And across all four, we can build capacity deliberately. 1. Rebuilding trust through ethical foundations. One practical insight in Brendan's framing is that ethical frameworks can be neutral starting points even across cultures. For example, Rotary's four-way test asks four simple questions. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Those questions work because they're not tied to one ideology or one national agenda. And similarly, the AI 5GP framing emphasizes constructive intent, truthfulness, fairness, goodwill, and universal benefit. Principles that can steer technological development toward outcomes that stabilize society rather than destabilize it. Multi-scale resilience, building peace infrastructure at every level. At the individual level, this looks like education, peace education, ethical tech training, and cross-cultural communication skills. At the community level, it's about local early warning systems, mediation capacity, and the ability to assess technology's impact where people actually live. At the institutional level, it means adaptive governance, decision-making that isn't single path, and legitimacy monitoring so institutions can stay trusted while they evolve. And at the global level, it requires rapid response mechanisms, shared early warning platforms, and neutral diplomatic channels that can operate even during high stress. Technology as a peace-building tool, not only a threat. A key move here is refusing the simplistic story that technology is automatically destabilizing. Advanced technologies can become peace tools if guided by ethical frameworks and proper safeguards. That means AI systems trained to detect early warning signs of conflict before escalation. It means algorithmic resource allocation designed for equity, reducing scarcity-driven tension. It can mean communication technologies that help people connect directly across divides rather than only through intermediaries. And it can mean transparency systems that reduce information asymmetry, the breeding ground of mistrust. A phased plan, what the next 12 months can look like. This is where the timeline becomes concrete. Immediate actions, next 60 days, activate bridge builders and trusted intermediaries to reinforce cross-cultural connections. Establish regular dialogue mechanisms that synchronize different stakeholder time horizons. And integrate ethical tests, like the four-way test, directly into technology development workflows. Midterm development, 60 to 200 days, create redundancy, multiple pathways for critical diplomatic functions. Develop and test institutional adaptation protocols for emerging technologies. And implement confidence-building measures in high-sensitivity regions as templates that can scale. Threshold management, 200 to 380 days. Create automatic de-escalation protocols triggered by system stress indicators. Create buffers around critical thresholds to prevent cascades. And develop minimum viable governance, the essential mechanisms that still function even as the environment changes rapidly. The choice before us. So the question isn't whether technological transformation will happen, it's already happening. The real question is, will we guide it toward outcomes that preserve human dignity, agency, and flourishing? Or will we drift into instability because our institutions couldn't adapt in time? This is why the metaphor matters. Not stronger walls, wiser bridges, not faster weapons, deeper wisdom, not isolated advancement, collective resilience. And if we get this right, the 2027 inflection point isn't a countdown to crisis, it's an invitation to evolve. Call to action. If you found this episode useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the XFO Intelligence podcast channel. It genuinely helps more people find these conversations. Also, I encourage you to visit Brendan S.C. Wong's personal blog, where an article on this topic has already been published. And finally, your perspective matters. What part of this feels most urgent to you? Where do you see the biggest trust gaps or the best opportunities for building peace infrastructure? Drop your feedback in the comments and let me know what you want covered next. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.